All right. I guess I'll start. I'll
What's
ask
up? Nah,
you.
I gotta ask you.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
it's your
It's
turn.
your
It's your
turn.
turn.
That's
Well,
right.
how you been, bro?
Damn, dude. I've had a wild week. Let me tell you what. So
Oh,
I had
hell
a
yeah,
couple things that I want to make sure I hit. So I even like wrote them down that I wanted to talk about.
for sure.
Um, so first I'm going to start off with my day on Sunday. So today's Monday, the 5th, Labor Day.
Happy Labor
Happy
Day.
Labor Day. There you go. I don't know. People find reasons to drink and celebrate and do crazy stuff. And I guess Labor Day can be one of them. Every government person takes off, and
Okay.
myself included. Well, not myself included.
Are you
There's
drinking right now?
no, just water, just water.
Oh, you mentioned that. I was like, okay. Cheers. I'm drinking coffee.
Good for you. But people will find any excuse to drink nowadays, right?
Facts.
So let me start off. So I come into work, and for those of you that don't understand, or even you may not understand, on Sundays when I come into work, I come in at 7:30 in the morning, and I stay until 7:30 the following day over like weekends and holidays.
Oh shit.
So I get into work, and I'm standing essentially like on call duty, kind of like you would at a fire department, police department, whatever the case may be, right?
Mm.
So I'm standing this on call duty, and you're scheduled to do a training flight in the morning on these days. So I flew out. It was super cool. Shout out to my homies over at UC Davis. I've got a friend, Rachel, Big Rach, we call her. She's a field hockey coach over there. And it just so happened that they were playing a game when I was going out on my training flight. So I was like, oh, dude, we'll do a sweet little flyby for you in the middle of the game. And my
Oh
buddies caught it
shit.
on video. Yeah, it was sweet. It
Oh,
was sweet.
you guys made it happen.
Yeah, we made it happen. So we took
See?
off. So listen, so the day gets better, don't worry, or at least more interesting and a little sad, but we'll get there. So I do the flyover. We go up. We're like doing, whatever. We come back. Everything's good to go. Come back and I work out for a little bit in the afternoon. And I get a call from the other pilots like, hey, man, we got to get ready. I think we're going to have to go do something. Just come up and we'll like get our brief essentially so we can start planning and getting our stuff together.
Oh, shit's about to go down. You just don't know what's up.
Exactly.
Uh,
So we get a call from the guys up north, up near Seattle, that they had a float plane that crashed up near Seattle. It had the first report was 9 people. I think the final report came out that there was 10 people on it, and one kid, like an infant or toddler. That they had like recovered one body, recovered meaning the body was deceased, and they were going to launch us up there to go fly on the case and continue the search.
oh fuck,
Well,
dude.
we get this news and we're like, scramble the jets. We're getting the crew together. We're getting our planning done, and we're going to the plane, and we get there and we take off, and then we call the guy who essentially is our desk representative at the air station where we can like talk to them when we're in the air or right before we leave. And we're like, hey, do you have any updates for us? And they're like, well, they want you to go check out a sailboat that's 80 miles offshore and probably about 200 miles away from Seattle, and make sure that they're okay before you fly up there. Long story short, we ended up tracking way out towards the sailboat, and then they're like, "Oh, huge miscommunication between the people who told us to go do it and us." They're like, "Oh, we don't want you to actually go there anymore. Now we want you to go straight to where the downed float plane was
Mm-hmm.
in Seattle." So we get up to Seattle and we're flying. Meanwhile, like, I know it sounds really cool in Step Brothers, but NVGs, like night vision goggles, are really not fun to look through for any amount of
Oh,
time, right? Like industrial
dude.
strength night vision goggles, right?
I literally just you talking about sailboats. I was thinking
I know,
prestige
sorry. I
worldwide,
know, I know.
boats and hoes.
I'm jumping
That's
topics. I'm sorry.
yeah. When you're like Step
But by the
Brothers, I'm
time
thinking
by the time we
Derek's
get up
boat.
there, yeah, by the time we get up there though, it's pretty late. So sun's starting to go down, it's cloudy, like overcast clouds, and we get out there and it's like us, a Navy helicopter. There's a bunch of boats in the water, like looking for people, debris, anything. And meanwhile, the water up there is cold. So I think
Right. Shit.
survivability rate probably pretty low, but time is of the essence. So we get up there and we do it, and we end up coming back into a field up there to get gas, thinking that we're gonna go fly again over the night, right? Well, they decided they want us to do what's called a first light search. So essentially, like right when the sun comes up, they want you out there to go search again.
How many
Well,
hours till sunrise?
so here's the kicker, right? We landed and finally got to the hotel room at like 11:45 at night. and they wanted us to take off and like be there patrolling at 7:30 in the morning. So essentially from the time that we got to the hotel around, 11:45 midnight, we could sleep for 4 or 5 hours, then get up and go back because we had to transit Uber to the hotel, Uber back. It's 15 minutes each way. And then we had to flight plan, we had to get gas on the plane, then we had to go again. So this whole snafu, we end up essentially taking a 5 hour nap at
I was
or
gonna
four or
say,
five
so
hour
like,
nap, right? At the
so
hotel.
if you were like, I don't want to talk shit, but like, is it like, how the fuck am I gonna sleep knowing that there's people in the water right now? Are like you guys just with your hands tied and like you guys are like, why aren't we out there? Or is this normal?
So there's a couple of things. So our plane has, and I don't know if this is going to be top secret, top secret stuff that I'm
I
about to
actually was
divulge.
wondering,
Yeah,
like, I
yeah. I,
appreciate
I
you
think it's
mentioning.
okay. I think it's
I don't
okay.
know.
But we have a camera system, and most Coast Guard aircraft and other aircraft have a camera system that helps them do things like this. So search, look
Mm.
at things, whatever type of surveillance they do. And our plane that we took just happened to not have that. So we're legit looking out the window, and we've got a crew of 5 guys
Oh
just
my
looking out the
gosh.
window
That's the
at
night
a
vision
thousand
goggles.
feet. And yeah, and think about too, for a person in the water, right? Putting this in perspective, it's like a needle in a haystack, man. Even if you're low, like it's very, very hard to find. And what color are they going to be wearing? They're going to be wearing a black t-shirt like you're wearing right now, or blue, or whatever color that is, in blue or dark blue water. So it
At
makes it
nighttime.
yeah, at nighttime, it makes it infinitely hard unless they have, flashing lights, something that's going to, so I guess I'll put the plug out right now. If you're flying or boating at night or doing any of those things, or even during the day, and something else happens, really make sure you've got flares on you, you've got life vests on you, you've got flashing lights on you, strobes on you, because you will not be found if you don't have that type of survival equipment. Like I'm bluntly, like
Yeah,
the water in the Pacific is 60 degrees. You're not going to survive that long. And if you do, you're probably not going to get found. Even if they're just flying right over you and you think they got you in sight, like they might not at all.
that's
So
crazy.
quick plug for that. But continuing the story. So we ended up landing at 11:45. We ended up going back, and then we're going to take off at 7:30. We needed to be like there. It's a short transit from the airfield. So we end up getting gas. We go back up, and eventually they suspended the search. But when we first took off from Sacramento, where I'm stationed at, we didn't know how long we were going to be there. And typically when we do stuff like this, we'll fly up and then fly home. Well, nobody packs like an overnight bag with like anything in it. So everyone's just like wearing the clothes on their back, going in, taking a quick nap. Like nobody's got a toothbrush. Like guys in the back are making jokes about not having a toothbrush.
Mhm.
So needless to say, my last 48 hours, I was working from 7:30 in the morning on Sunday until I got home right around 2 or 3 o'clock today. So it was like a little
PM.
more than, yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a super long day because we flew the yesterday or Sunday morning for the flyover for, feel good, like at the field hockey game. And then
Shit.
the downer of looking for people in the water, and, a plane that crashed. So super sad. I mean, I'm really upset, and it tears you up to think about that stuff happening, because like I
Yeah,
said, survivability rate's pretty low. I know it's a float plane going down, but nobody knows really how they went down, or there hasn't video that we've seen. So thoughts and prayers go out to the families for sure that are involved in that or dealing with that right now.
for real, bro.
Yeah, for
What is
real.
a float boat? Float boat.
Float plane.
Yeah, or a
So
float.
a float
I just said
plane's,
boat. My fault.
it's like a seaplane, like the ones that
Oh,
got the,
seaplane.
yeah, 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 that they're meant to land in the water. So
For
that
sure.
was like my last 48 hours was essentially that, like the whole time.
That's
And when I
insane, dude.
came home, dude, I took like one of those naps, and I only set like an alarm for like an hour later because I knew if I continued to sleep, I would wake up even further in Narnia than I did. But I slept so hard for an hour because like your mind and adrenaline and all that stuff is going, that whole time.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was pretty crazy.
That's gnarly, bro.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And just so earlier today, I just went I went on a boat with Harvey, Gale. Harvey's in from Oahu right now. So me, Harvey, Gale, Jasmine just went on a little snorkel cruise. Just we went, it was just like West Maui, but they took us north to like Kapalua near Cliff House, like before the Ritz Carlton and all that, but still just the furthest north we had ever been. And me and Jackson just kind of wanted to be on the boat. We didn't actually snorkel. Harvey and Gail went in, but just looking at the ocean, like being on the water, it was crazy. It's like it's alive. It's this big monster that's taking people's lives, that's like flipping boats with animals in there, like, okay, I sent Blaise an article. Somebody on North Shore of Maui, like Paia area, got their fucking arm bit off by a shark.
Dude. Yeah.
I'm like, I'm reading
Wild.
this shit thinking I'm about to snorkel in a couple of days. I'm like, fuck that, bro. So this chick dead ass lost her whole arm, some fingers on one side, and a bit her hip. So tiger sharks, man, like the ocean's scary. So thinking being there out at night, stranded, like that's horrible, man. What a horrible way to go.
Stick to being the vampire, man. Stick to being the
I
vampire.
I used the reef safe sun block that they had on the boat. Bro, I don't know if my skin didn't like it. I'm burnt like hell, dude. Like I'm like, why I miss being a vampire. Why the fuck am I outside right now? I'm like, it's so hot. But we saw a lot of dolphins. It was really pretty. It was like a 10:30 to 3:30. And I kid you not, bro, there was 7 people on the same boat that we had the private charter on. Paragon is the boat that we went out on. There was 3 people and the 4 of us.
Nice.
So we just had basically this private, little trip over to a snorkel spot. So that was pretty cool. But just worth mentioning, yeah, the ocean's scary, man. So I can't imagine being out there at night. And we were talking about like it being warmer here. The part of the crew had all been from Cali and one was from like Newport and stuff, and talking about like wetsuits and like
Yeah,
it's
cold water's
so
no
cold.
joke. Yeah, cold
Yeah, it's
water's no
so
joke.
cold. But anyways, yeah, I don't know if I had mentioned before, I'm not a surfer or anything because I'm pretty scared of sharks. So I've had no stories of anybody getting hurt by a shark and was scared of sharks, and now I have a brand new one that's
Good.
now applicable.
Yeah, well, I guess continuing this upward trend where we kind of went down with the shark attack with the little bit of morbidity there, but the person
Right.
survived, right? So
I
I
think
guess
so.
we're kind of going
I think
upward.
so. I actually, yeah, that was probably an important part of the story. I don't remember if she made it or not. I don't know. She was in critical care. Um,
Well, we'll cross our fingers about that one. But continuing
yeah.
this, what I hope to be an upward trend of storytelling of what of catching up to.
Wait, let me
Um,
let me see if we can go back a little.
no, don't do that. So I was at my grandparents' house this past weekend,
Hmm.
and they live in about 3 hours away from me here in Sacramento. I've got to drive about 3 hours to go see them. And it's so cool, man. Like this is another thing that I want to talk to you about is we were there and my grandfather is 82. My grandmother is in her mid to late 70s. And like they are still living in the same house, totally like functioning on their own. Like really, really like there mentally. I'm super, super fortunate and love going out to see them. It's been pretty tough to do over the past like 6, 8 months because I've been really busy coaching and with work. But I get out there and my favorite thing to do with my grandfather, and maybe even when I go out there every single time, is that he plays basketball with me. But
Oh, no way.
it's not just like playing basketball. It's like he has been playing basketball at the same gym for 52 years. He has
What a
had a league. He has had a league of guys on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that go and play basketball. And their kids are from 22 years old that play to my grandfather, who's the oldest one at
what a
82.
G,
And I'm
bro.
telling you, he runs the court. It's amazing.
He's
His
like coach
ability
status.
level.
Yeah.
No, he's like the guy, when you play with a guy who does a breakaway off of the rebound and is down there to lay the ball in, like that's him and he's 82.
Good
So,
for him.
I just wanted to like say it is so amazing that he can do that. And all it does for me is just make me want to be more mobile and be able to do that type of thing like with my kids, grandkids, etc. when I get older, right? Because like that we're like bonding, we're like hanging out, we're like throwing
Hell
passes,
yeah.
and his name is Merle. And the
Shout out Merle.
shout out to Merle. Yeah, they probably will never listen, so I can say air out all this stuff on here. But Merle is like he has the best baseline jumper, mid-range baseline jumper ever. That the whole group of guys nickname it the Pearl. They're like, "Oh, Merle, there's the Pearl," and he's just like money. And it
Yeah.
is awesome, Dan. I tell
Dropping
you
them.
what, but it's so crazy. Like I said, he's committed and he's always been moving. He continues to move around. So my personal, again, I guess I want to make another plug for people that are out there sitting down and being stagnant too much every day. Like the progression that you take from standing, walking, running to walking and then assisted walking with a walker or with a, or, and then going to a wheelchair or a cane and then going, progressing and declining and declining even more, you're just going to eventually end up, in a hospital bed and not able to move. So I'd say like keep moving around, keep, stretching, stay mobile, play with your kids, do those things because eventually you won't be able to. And it's crazy to think that my grandfather at 82, I've seen a lot of 80 or 82-year-olds that are on life support. So it's just
Facts.
really, really I guess I'm very fortunate. Hopefully those good genes have brushed off onto me that I can stay moving around like that. But
Hell
really
yeah.
like take care of your bodies and make sure that you continue to promote your own personal fitness and mobility because at the end of the day you get one body. It's one of those things like time. There's no way to exchange it. There's no currency. You get one shot. So I wanted to talk about that as well with you and see if you had anything you wanted to add or
Well, how perfect is this? Is that I played basketball last night, and I had something cool I wanted to talk about. Excuse me. So something kind of random. I didn't necessarily have the opportunity like 100%. Just the seed was planted where one of my coworkers, she's probably mid 30s. She has kids that aren't even in high school yet. But I was just talking about what is it like to have a kid in Maui, what sports are like. Watching high school football here has been awesome. Literally watching on TV like broadcasted football, like these guys are really about their high school sports. And since we don't have like a team out here, like we can't go to University of Hawaii and watch a football game unless we fly Oahu. We're pretty limited. And I'm all about high school sports, like especially when it's competitive. Anything is fun to watch when shit's going down. But me going to play basketball with Jared and his brothers in town, we went to like the aquatic center. And I don't know, man. It was cool because sorry, I didn't even finish my point. The coworker presented an opportunity like, hey, like if you want, you could volunteer to like help these guys play basketball. So I know you and you're in a coaching position and it's meaningful work and you're positively impacting kids. You're helping them with sports, like blah, blah, blah. I watch Harvey. Harvey's a wrestling coach. He's doing the same thing, right? He's just a little bit older than you, but like just watching and being in a realm of influence, like I'm not involved in the community at all right now. Like I'm really not. I'm just out here doing my thing. I'm hustling on the side. Like I'm not going to church as much as I want to. Like things are just a little bit different. I'm like establishing myself now in my new life in Maui. So I'm like, damn, bro, like what if I should give back and I'm not the best basketball player in the world, but I know that I could be out there guarding them, like being showing up, being, responsible in the sense of like um they can count on me. But just that was something that had happened. That opportunity kind of presented itself, and I immediately clammed up and was like, "Yo, Jared, if I do this, can I drag you with me?" Because Jared actually played, college ball at PCC, so he was an Eagle. I just played collegiate, but all that to say, last night we're playing basketball, and basketball etiquette. If you're going on the court, people can just walk up and shoot with you. You normally like say, "What's up, bro? What's your name?" Like you rebound for them, they make the shot, you pass it back. There's just etiquette. People that don't know, that's just kind of how a basketball court works. You walk up, you hopefully are not too shy to you not introduce yourself. But um, a high school girl walked on the court the same time we did. And I'm like, yo, what's your name? And she's like, yo, my name's Shadi. I'm a sophomore. I play for Lahaina Luna Intermediate or Lahaina Luna High School. And it just felt so good, like including her. Like I said, yo, let's play twos. Shadi, you with me. And like playing with her and like making sure she felt like involved. And we lost both games. Jared and his brother, they beat us both times. But it was just fun and it felt good. And I was like, dang, like what if I could be involved? It just kind of reignited that spark a little bit to be like, dang, I could be. I was telling her like, hey, I'm gonna pick you. You're gonna come around next time. Cut. Like I'm like telling her what to do to try to help, because I have basketball fundamentals down for sure. That's the one thing I'm confident on. But it just felt really good. And then what felt even better was her dad walking up to me after. So all of a sudden we're wrapping up, and then her dad comes from the shadows, and I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "Thank you for letting my daughter play." And it was kind of also like cool because she was a girl, and like I didn't want her to feel that like just because she's a girl she can't hoop with us. And on the other hoop there was like 6 or 7 guys, high school guys, and I'm like, "Did they not let you play with them?" And she said that it was an organized thing, and those were Lahaina Luna basketball, like the boys team. So it just felt good to like they didn't take care of their own, and like we kind of made sure she was included. So I don't know if it's in my future to like help coach or help, I can rebound for the kids, like give them a little fundamental here and there, and I know damn well it's gonna make me feel good. And I don't know, man. It might be a thing for me. We'll see.
You really should think about it, man. And I'll say that for my whole time doing it, I've really, really enjoyed the impact you can have. And you'll be surprised too, just the amount of influence you can have on somebody. And then not even that, you get to teach them like life skills when you're out there coaching too, keeping your head up when you make a mistake, teamwork. You get to really harp on like keeping everybody's spirits high when things are going down, and they look at you. And especially as a young person, a lot of people that are in that sphere, maybe Lahaina Luna's basketball team, the head coach is 60, and it's really tough for a 15-year-old kid to relate to the
Oh
60-year-old
shit.
guy, right?
Interesting.
So you can be the bridge between the older guy and the younger guys, and they look to you more as a mentor as opposed to like a strictly like head coach that's just going to make them run suicides or whatever the case may be that the coaching style is that the head coach has. So I'd
Hmm.
say, when I came to Sacramento and even when I was coaching in Florida, I presented my situation very openly. I said, "Hey, this is going to be a side gig for me. I may not always be able to make it. I'm going to do my best, but here's kind of how my availability works." And I was like, "Will you take me?" And they're like, "Absolutely, we'll take you." After I met with them, they had let me come out to a practice and they wanted to hire me on the staff. So I'd say, maybe do that. Maybe like be pretty upfront, be like, "Hey, I don't know what my availability is going to look like. When do you practice?" And, you could just go out and see how it goes. And even if it's an unpaid position, it's super, super fun to give back like that. There's
Oh yeah, yeah,
one
yeah.
thing
I wasn't even
about
thinking
that.
about
And
money. I was just
yeah,
thinking like, dang.
exactly. It's like some people will end up doing it for the money, and typically not in high school athletics because the head coach gets paid like 2 or 3 grand, and barely covers gas to and from the whole season, right? And the 2 hours of practice a day. But really, really cool. And it makes me think back to a couple of my coaches I've had when I was in high school, those guys that I still talk to. So think about, being able to have that influence and then that reach. And when someone's going out for a job application or they're looking for a letter of recommendation, they're going to come to you because they trusted you and because they
Yeah,
thought that you were
dang.
somebody they could rely on. So it could be just another lens for you to think about moving forward if you're deciding to do it. I think you'd be really good at it, man. You're really good at connecting with people. Obviously, you're bringing that girl in to go play basketball. You've always been really good at being inclusive. I think that you clown just enough with the kids that you can like kind of get them bust their balls a little bit, but
Oh
also
yeah.
get them riled up to play hard. So I
Well,
think you'd be good.
that was something fun. Was that it was exactly that. I'm like, play up on him. Like I'm like, you can guard him. Like I was telling her to like, he was at the 3 point line just dribbling, and she's just watching him dance. And I'm like, go up. Like I'm like telling her what to do, and she's listening, or I'm saying like, take him down, whatever, whatever. And it was fun because I was cheering her on and also giving her shit like back and forth. So it felt good. And this is like the third time I've mentioned it since last night. So I think that it's really on my mind. As I was like, damn, like especially because I have so much going on, and I'm like thinking about my realistic timeline. I don't want to spend $1 million. So if I had something that took a couple hours out of my week, got the wind out of my sails energy wise, I mean, I was beat. I'm not as athletic, um, or how do I say it? I'm not as active as I should be. I'm going to do a podcast with you, and you're going to challenge the listeners to like be active when I'm over here. Like, I don't even do that shit. So it felt good to go out and sweat at like 8 o'clock at night, randomly pull up. And every time I play basketball, I never regret it. Remember, we were talking about maybe doing like an additional 15 principles book, like showing up's the hardest part. That line right there is just like you never regret working out. You never regret showing up and doing it. Like one thing that just, you're talking about bonding with your grandpa. I'll talk about my dad. And you saw him play with us when we at during the wedding, right?
He can
My dad,
ball. Shout
he's a
out.
hooper.
Shout out.
And I'm so thankful that he has been playing for years now, and he helped make waves at the church, and we ended up having like a church men's league. He's the one that had like the keys to the gym. He had the authority to be like, hey, I want to come out here with the guys. The only rule was you had to go to church. It was like that Sunday night you had to go to church, and then after we had the open gym, and we had our really nice gym, so anybody would come and they would just go to the night service so they could hoop. But I respect my dad a lot. He kind of, if I'm not mistaken, he helped make the waves to like make that a thing. And I love that he can still hoop. And it makes me really sad that we're not, playing as often anymore, because I'm like, damn, my dad's gonna get old on me and I'm over here in Maui. So it was a lot of fun to have him play with us. So the same way you connect with your grandpa, same thing with my dad. Is I was really thankful that he would hoop and still does. So there was a lot of times I didn't go, right? I never regretted going. The hardest part's showing up, right? After church, I'm like, dad's gonna go play ball. All those weeks that I was like being lazy for no reason, it was like missed opportunities to be with my dad and play. So
Yeah, for sure. I think that almost you can think about that in regards to any part of life. You typically don't regret the things that you do, just the things you don't do. So
oh
I
yeah.
like
We need
to
to be yes man.
I don't want to say that, do the
I'm
stuff
fucking down,
that's
bro.
yeah,
Whatever.
do
Tell
this
me, say less.
do the stuff that serves you, but also when you get an opportunity that's kind of outlandish or might push you a little bit out of your comfort zone, like why not? The worst thing that happens is you try it, you don't like it, and then at least you know. But I think you would really enjoy coaching, and I don't know. Nobody ever has a time, right? Nobody has a time to work out. Nobody has a time to coach. Nobody has a time to do X, Y, or Z. But you find ways to make it happen. You reprioritize, you shift things around in your schedule, you communicate with your wife if that's your case that you have going on over there, and then you figure out how to make it work. So I think, give it a shot, dude. Call you out, call you
Yeah.
out and say, go
Oh,
do it,
you
go do it.
so I'm super hard on myself, so I call myself out all the time. I think that's why I think it's okay that I call other people out, is because I'm very self-critical. I don't know. But yeah, I didn't wake up one time at 5 this week. We were talking about being impeccable with your word and all that. Start on a Monday. Yeah, I
Oh
failed
no.
that shit.
So what I'll
Yeah.
say is that I kind of wanted to circle back. We've even kind of touched on it a little bit so far, is that showing up and that consistency. And it's funny, it was a note that I wanted to talk about today, and we kind of already touched on it some. But Jeremy Scott, again, the fitness professional that I listen to and do a lot of his workouts online, he talks about people want microwave results in a crockpot world. And I think that right there kind of really starts to take into effect everything that's going on, right? Everybody wants, like, hey, how do I, in the fitness community, how do I get shredded fast? How do I get six pack abs? How do I lose fat and gain muscle? Or in the finance community, it's like, how do I get rich quick? How do I, invest in Bitcoin or real estate, scam or, pyramid scheme, whatever the case may be, that everybody always wants this like really, really rapid result, when typically the most important thing is to just show up. So show up, do the work, go home and repeat. And then eventually it's going to come through. Like there's people, lo and behold, everyone that's got a 401k has been investing in that ever since they were 18, or a Roth IRA or whatever. They're able to retire when they're 65. They're able to do those things because they were showing up consistently, making those things happen. So, I mean, again, we've touched on it a little bit already, but it's a crockpot world, man. You got to keep
That's a
showing up.
great one. Yeah,
Keep
you don't
showing
want to
up.
just click 2 on the timer and wait. No,
I'm
you got a
telling
4 to
you,
8 hour crock pot
that's
going
it.
on.
It's a long cook, man. And you know what? The people that have it figured out, that you think got rich quick, or that you think that it got an opportunity handed to them out of nowhere, it's not true. They were working and grinding in silence or grinding on their own. And then the opportunity came and they were ready. They were ready to perform. They were ready to act. Those Olympians that are training for, an Olympic swimmer is a great example. Olympic swimmers are training for years and years and years to be in the pool for what, 20 seconds in the sprint. Like, that's incredible. The guy that wins that, it's no accident. That dude's been lifting weights. That guy's been training in the water. He's been dryland training. He's been running. He's been stretching. He's been, doing mobility. He's been seeing a coach and paying them, maybe even out of pocket for the whole time that he's been training to go, he or she training to go to the Olympics to perform and be an amazing athlete. And this is the same in the finance world. It's the same in the business world. All those guys. So keep working hard, show up.
Oh yeah. I remember seeing a post too, or reading somewhere about if you had everything now, would you fuck it up? Like the whole, are you actually ready? We all want results quick, but it's like, hey, let's just everything you want handed to you right now. Like you'd fall hard because it's like the little things get you where you want and the confidence that you need to where if somebody like, hey, I want to be a rapper. Okay, you got a show tomorrow. You ready? Have you practiced being on stage? Have you practiced like, just the want versus the willingness to stay the course, right? It's very interesting. And I like the parallel between get fit quick, get rich quick, get love quick. That's something that another parallel is huge. Everybody wants this instant gratification too. Like I was talking about, thank God I'm not in the dating space anymore. Is it's crazy. People don't want to put in the work. If you're with somebody, um, just being on the boat today, I had the chance to meet one of the captains I hadn't met yet. His name's Justin, and he's 23 and he's been with the same girl since he's 18. I got married at 23. So I was telling him I've been married for 2 years and we were just talking and we just related on a lot of things. And he was just saying, it's crazy to think you put all this time with the person and just the immediate change is that you have to put in the work and you can't just pick up where you leave off when it comes to like investing and choosing your partner. Because no matter what, if it's a good time now, it's going to be shitty later on because that's life and that's relationships, right? Is like you have to ride all the waves. And it's interesting that life is just peaks and valleys. I told you, right? Like life's so good right now. I got a little nervous because I'm like, shit's about to go down because that's just life is, I think both of us are riding a good wave right now. So we're very blessed to be in a good spot. But yeah, it's being consistent, showing up. That's how I feel about a lot of the grim stuff that I'm doing is like it's gonna take me years to get the production value that I want, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop. It means I'm gonna keep learning, getting the next piece of equipment, getting the next skill. It's like certifications, it feels like. I need a syllabus. What did you do? Okay, you got your private check. Okay. What did you do next? Then you got the next, what is it? Instrument check. Get the commercial check. It
It's
takes
nice,
time.
man. Yeah. And it's funny because you work in a space where that doesn't exist. But the other thing too that I think is really powerful is that you're able to directly affect people that right away. And then the good word spreads, good product spread. So the fact that you're able to put out a good product and people that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch that, whether they're horror movie fans or whether they decide to listen to this, but they're people that and you talked about it in one of the first couple episodes. I think it was the second one. Where it's like if 124 people were sitting in your house like at the time and like we're listening to you talk, you'd be so overwhelmed. You'd be like, what
Yeah,
the hell is going on? I don't have any room to breathe in here. So it's
100%.
crazy to think that all those people took a time and most episodes that we've been putting out have been about an hour. So
Hmm.
they're taking an hour out of their day to listen. That's crazy to me. And like I said, and I've been sending you screenshots and you've been sending them to me. Thank you for everybody that has listened up to this point and
Should,
given
should
us
we
such
should we shout out some people?
such
Yeah, we've
amazing
got
feedback. We
some people
can. We
have
can. Go ahead. Go ahead. You can start. You can
shout
start.
out Oka. He's probably watching. Okay, so quick story. Oka is probably gonna be psyched to hear this. So I moved to Maui in 2020 for the first time ever. That was right after I had proposed to Jasmine. A couple months later, I moved to Maui and I was working two jobs. I was working a plumbing company and then I had 2 hour gap and I worked a UPS night shift. So as a UPS worker, I was part of the receiving department where all of the UPS trucks go out, do their deliveries. Then they get the stores, all the boxes that are going outbound. They'll bring all the trucks to the center warehouse, lift up their gates. And I was the guy that had to help organize where they were going. It was like West Coast, East Coast. It's going Maui to Maui. It's going Maui to Oahu and the other islands. So there was a decent amount of like organization. And we touched a little bit about discrimination. Not a single UPS worker was nice to me. I was the only white guy, and I was like, damn, like I have no leeway. None of the guys fucked with me except Oka. And I made sure that Oka knew that I fucked with him and I appreciated how genuine he was. And I told him over and over, he was just the nicest one. And it like felt good. I'm like, dang, that was the first time I moved here for Jasmine. I was working two jobs, no friends, whatever. And I'm like, Oka's a good ass dude. So shout out Oka. He says he does his UPS deliveries, and as he's working, he listens to the podcast.
That's
So
awesome.
that's one fucking like, damn, dude. We only were in like proximity for maybe a month and a half. I moved back to Cali. I'm back, and he still delivers to this street. He's our Lahaina. So whenever I see him, I say what's up to him through the car. So shout out Oka, you the man.
Nice,
So
man. And I've got
you
a
got
couple
a
people too.
supporter.
Of course, your best man Kyle. He's been listening
Hell
a
yeah.
lot. That's the dude. My buddy Tarzan that I coach lacrosse with, and Cliff. Those guys have been listening. Shout out to those
Oh hell
guys.
yeah.
And then I even had some people come out that I never expected to really listen, like Ellie Donnelly, another one of my friends from school. So all you guys, like, thank you again. I don't know if you'll listen to this episode too. It'd be kind of funny if you never did,
Yeah.
but shout out to
Well,
you guys.
you think about how just because they listen doesn't mean they listen the whole thing. So maybe it's like if they got to 30-minute marker, it's considered a listen. I don't know where
Yeah. Maybe we got to tag them. So it's like, oh, maybe they're just sitting there waiting for their shout out,
this
or
is the true test. This is
that's
the,
it. That's
they
right. See
didn't
if
make
they
it to
hit you
episode
up.
5. Shout out Hen. Hen's a big supporter. My buddy Robert, he said, listen to your podcast. It's amazing, super clean, super smooth, very easy to listen to. That shit was fire. I wouldn't lie to you. You guys got it. That was a really encouraging one. Shout out to Kevin. And then even Amanda, she's your friend. I don't even know this girl. She's been hella supportive. She DM'd me. She sent me that little video supporting. And if I'm not mistaken, the statistic was if you can make it to the 4th episode, you're already in a top tier podcasts because by the 4th episode, you fall off. They don't stay consistent. Talk about consistency. This is exactly what it is. And then the other one was, I think the 20th episode was the next tier of people that fall off. So as long as we keep doing what we're doing, it's going to be exciting to think that this is going to grow. And a lot of the followers are coming from your side. I'm telling you, like I'm watching more and more. Like it's cool that we're bringing people that we know from different backgrounds. And as we advertise it, I just was on the phone with one of the professors, the only professor I still talk to from the college I went to. Shout out Lonnie Smith. He asked for the link. And I was embarrassed. I said, I'm so sorry, man. I never sent it to you because I cuss a lot. And I didn't want you to hear me cuss. So I call him Pops. That's why I got love for him. And he's a freaking Baptist Christian school teacher. So I wasn't exactly like, yo, listen to the pod, bro.
Right.
But
I will
I
say
didn't ask.
too, we got to commit though. Hold on. Let me put it out there. Hold that
What's up?
question. I guess you didn't even ask me this time to put up
Mm,
money, but you said that you paid for episodes 1 through 50 podcast art. So we're
yes.
committing to at least 50 episodes.
All right.
And what I want to say too is kind of on that note, sometimes I think people, and in the podcast world, probably it's true as well, is you almost give up like too soon. Like giving things a real chance and an honest try when you're trying something new. At first, it's probably going to be super uncomfortable, and I don't know if we're getting any better at doing the recording or working on this, but I do feel like we're speaking more clearly. We're starting to present our thoughts in a better way. And we're actually having a lot of fun. I mean, you and I talked about it after the last episode. Probably wasn't our best one, but we're
Uh,
still having the best time, like having this conversation together, enjoying each other's company, and then putting out content that hopefully is starting to make a difference. So shout out to you for that, for sure,
oh,
man. I, pop that up for you.
appreciate it. And I'm glad you mentioned it because editing last episode was the hardest edit of my entire life. Like me and Blaise wanted to do a review on a book, and we started with, instead of saying how you been, bro, and getting like a flow going, we went straight into the book, then forgot we didn't do an intro. Then we went to updating each other on life. So I had to cut us talking about life, put it at the front, take the intro, put it next, then take the review, put that last. And did you get a chance to listen to this episode 4 yet?
I am part of the way through. I haven't finished it
Okay.
totally
Only reason
yet,
I
but
ask is not to toot my own horn, but I felt like it went smooth, and that that was a lot of work to get it, and editing mistakes and just making it make sense. I took a decent amount that I was like, okay, I can't use that part, and we referenced that at the beginning, and just remembering what we said. You'd be amazed. I'm doing this live with you, and then editing right after, and normally I go through it first to get a flow for it, and then I'll do the editing, and then I have to re-listen to it after And then if there's mistakes, I go back again. So it's a decent commitment. But not complaining, just saying that, yeah, last episode, we're talking about trying to get better. We were very choppy, and I don't think anybody's going to know that because I think that, it
That's
was
it.
edited.
Dust yourself it off. We did not do well though. And even after I was like, man, that just didn't. And I think it's because I think we figured it out, or at least I thought about it afterwards. Like as I'm going to sleep, it's so funny. I almost had I was laying there in bed. I was like, why did that feel so odd? I think it's because we got a life update first, dude. It's like, I think it just gets us into or personally, it gets me into my groove. I start chatting with you, chatting with me, where it's talking about
Yeah.
whatever. And then bam, there it is. And then we kind of can hit on some, deeper subjects, if you want to call it that. But again, we're not experts on nothing. So,
Yeah.
the mid episode shout out to
Yeah.
where we talk
We
about
still don't
stuff.
know shit, guys. Just
Yeah.
heads up. Do you want to know about my urologist appointment?
Oh, yes, I do.
My surgery is scheduled September 22nd.
Oh no.
And on the 19th, I have to get COVID tested. The 22nd, they're going to put me under. They're going to lube up some stick, get right up there, stick it in. They're going to zap my stones. I don't know how suction. I don't know if they're suctioning them out or I pee them out because they're broken down. I'm not sure the exit process, but just wait. I got something horrible to tell you. I'm having a hard time passing a 4 millimeter stone. And I go to the urologist and they're like, okay, yeah, we definitely need to operate because you have a 7 millimeter in there too. I'm like, double the size. Are you kidding me? So this is 100% mandatory. I need this to be done. You ready for what I found out that I didn't know? They're going to leave a stent in my dick. So I'm going to have a tube that they put in to then do whatever they need to inside of it to zap and have their fun, doing their thing.
And they're gonna leave it?
They're gonna leave it. They're gonna leave it in me because if they took it out, I could swell. I could not be able to pee. I could get a fever. I could get sick, and it could be like this, chain of events that happens. Blaise, they're gonna leave it in me 4 days, and I have to pull it out myself.
Bro.
I did not know this was a thing.
Are you? We need to find a new nickname. Okay, first podcast listener of this episode.
Oh, you're gonna make fun of me? What you got?
No. If you come up with the best nickname, you will get a shout out. Best nickname. We'll field them all, and then we'll record it in 6. And then when 6 comes out, you will be featured. You will get a single eye shout out. I've got a couple in my head. I got a couple in my head. No. I don't want to put thoughts in the listener's
nickname for
head.
me?
Yes.
A nickname for my stone?
No, or the stone or the tube. Oh my gosh, this is electric. This is good. This is good here.
But the side effects are it makes your dick bigger. So I mean, it's lit.
Nice.
No, just kidding. But yeah, she was like, the urologist. I haven't actually seen the doctor yet because I guess the doctor is so busy that the whole process of, hey, you have stones, come back, we're gonna write a prescription for you, come back for your follow-up. He still doesn't need to be present yet. So I haven't met this guy. But just this, I don't know if she's a nurse, I don't know if she's an assistant to him or whatnot. She's like, yeah, if you have any trouble, you could come back, we could give you something and I could take it out for you. So it's like, I don't know how I'm gonna go about this, but they're gonna leave a plastic tube in me for days after, and I'm gonna be peeing through it and then have to take it out myself. And that sounds
get some weed, or you
horrible.
better drink beforehand. You better figure something out.
I don't know, dude. I have to tell you this. This is funny as hell. She was like, yeah, we don't have a lot of younger people that have this. And a lot of the older guys don't have a hard time taking it out. I'm like, what? So you lose feeling in your dick when you're older, so it's easy to yank it out? Like, it's going to hurt.
We got to Google that.
I'm like, wait, what did you just tell me?
Do we do a live fact check? Do I do a live
I don't understand. Where did you get this statistic? Or they just, they're going to email me an inquiry. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad did it hurt to pull your stint out?
Oh my gosh,
bro. Brutal.
Let me see what Google says. I Googled, and I quote, do you lose feeling in your dick as you age? And we'll see what the Google machine says.
Drum roll.
Brrr. The headline says penis function. This is interesting. The nerves in your penis get less sensitive as you age. What? This can lead to trouble with arousal and having an orgasm. As testosterone levels drop, erectile dysfunction becomes more likely. You may lose rigidity, but not necessarily your ability to have intercourse. That is so sad.
That's depressing. What if you're active? I don't think Pearl has that problem. Or
oh, jeez.
Pearl was the shot. What's his name? Earl?
Merle.
Shout out Merle. He still got it.
He still got it. This is crazy. What if I feel like if you're active, are you doing it? Are you like, I don't know.
I don't know. But I was filling out my questionnaire and 90% of the questions was asking if I had a hard time getting it up. I'm like, I'm here for kidney stones, guys.
Why am I filling and you're 25. Out? Jesus.
Yeah. So
and you just got married. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, it still works. It was 0 on those. No. Just in case anybody's wondering.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that happened with the urol. I mean, that's crazy. And you're going, they are actually putting you under for the surgery or no?
Yes, thank God. That's why I never had an issue scheduling it. I'm like, you're going to do stuff to me down there. It's all good. I'm asleep. But for me to be awake days later, consciously, like having to take that out, gosh, I can't, man.
They told you that they're going to analyze it after it comes out too, right? Like they're going to see kind of what dietary shift you can make. Cause I know you talked about that before. Like that's something that typically they'll do is try and figure out what's been creating it.
Well, Jasmine asked me the same question, and it's a great question that I didn't ask. I didn't ask after you zap them and break them down, are you receiving them right away and now I'm good because you're going to analyze it and I'll find out? Or is this just, problem resolved now? Obviously, I need to know what I can't eat or drink to make more because obviously that shit's around the corner. I need to figure out what to do to change, but that's a great question. I'm not sure.
Yeah, would you just be kicking the can for the next one, Hope not.
This is a one-day operation. She drives me home. I'm chilling. It's not even like some.
Well, I mean, for the next time you get a stone, like that.
Oh, say that again.
You could just be kicking the can for like just you're not attacking the root issue of figuring out what's causing them. You're just removing them. It's like
killing weeds but leaving the roots.
That's right. That's right.
I put one story that we never finished. We never explained that we never got tattoos at the wedding.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was
somebody asked me about this the other day. And this is a sad, I don't want to shout out the artist, so we'll leave the artist nameless because you might have actually said their name on the first episode, possibly.
I don't think so.
Okay.
The girl that would have done it for us?
Yes.
Not that more of.
Well, that's good. Yeah. So
fuck her. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
We had this idea, and then as we're getting close to the wedding, Alex and I were going to get matching tattoos, or at least tattoos. And then we decided they were going to be matching, and we decided we were going to get HYBB.
Yeah.
And then the person, unnamed tattoo artist, fuck them. Just kidding. Again, that they decided they were like bailing on us because they were like uncomfortable with the tattoo, but we just wanted like a prison tattoo somewhere dumb, like hardly even visible. And they were totally capable of doing that. I mean, we saw her work. It wasn't like, you wouldn't pay like $5,000 for a tattoo from them for an hour, but you definitely would give them some money to do letters. I mean, Alex could probably tattoo letters on me. Shit.
I don't know if I feel comfortable. I don't got a steady hand.
Yeah. We'll get a pen. We'll get a pen and a needle and we'll just give it a shot, stick and poke style.
Stick and poke.
Man, yeah, that was so depressing. You probably have more details. I mean, all I know is that I was just sad because I was ready to rock.
Well, I mean, I was asking, I'm not putting the guys on blast anymore. I don't know, like, I'm not talking shit, whatever. But I did ask them to get me their artwork on what they wanted, and they never did. So we'll just leave it at that. Well, I said, hey, I got a girl that'll tattoo us. We can have some rock star vibes, chilling at the crib, smoking, drinking, getting tats and stuff. I was very hyped about it, and people didn't give me feedback, and it fell apart. So we'll just leave it at that.
Well. He's talking about you, Kyle.
Yeah, what the fuck, Kyle? I'm just kidding. Kyle didn't want to get tatted. It wasn't him.
We're just playing. Oh man.
Process of elimination.
That's tough. Okay, I got one more thing.
It wasn't you. It wasn't Kyle.
That's right. I got one more thing that I wanted to hit on that I heard on a podcast the other day that was really interesting. So it's this guy who's like, I forget what his official title was. Maybe he was like an economist or something like that. But he essentially talked about being rich and like allocating your resources. And he talked about, and what I think is a total, utopia type of society that will never happen because people are too selfish. But level with me here and kind of listen, and hopefully you can kind of pick apart what I'm getting at. So he said, like, in our current state, especially in the US, like, say you win the lottery. Alex Freeman wins the lottery. He decides, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy this massive house with all this land. I'm going to build a basketball court. I'm going to build a swimming pool. I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to have all this space, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's going to be great. So think about like how many people that serves you, your family, your friends, maybe a couple other people, right? Well, he talked about a society and where people that were affluent that money into public spaces that had public parks, pools, swimming, playgrounds, basketball courts, all these things that were in a public place, almost like a communal that people put into when they're, affluent. And then it made it a communal space. So we're not only cutting down on the amount of real estate that every person has that has money, but also investing in the community. And he talked about it heavily in like, downtown urban areas that are like super rough. He's like, what if the, top 1% ended up taking some of that money that they put into their own home, building their swimming pool, doing whatever, and putting that into the community. And I thought that was just such an interesting thing to where if you get enough buy-in from people, because think about it, at your own house, right? You're not going to have people like breaking shit or doing stuff and like essentially ruining your property. But if you yourself and a community of people were putting in, or at least some community of people were putting in on a swimming pool, a communal basketball court, etc., you would probably put in to take care of it as well because you want to be able to benefit from use. So if you level with me and think about this, unrealistic, because I think people are too selfish to make it happen. But if
Mhm.
people were able to kind of take some ownership of a public space like that, could you imagine how great we could have? Public transportation would be way better. Public swimming pools, basketball courts, playgrounds, parks, golf courses, whatever you could think of. And we would have more room for the other stuff. Your house could just be a house. You wouldn't be worried about, having a huge yard. You wouldn't be worried about all these other things because you have the communal place for that. And then you know what else it comes back to? It comes back to getting more rich feedback from being outside and being around other people and being able to interact with people as well. So I thought it was really, really interesting in a way
That's
to,
yeah, it's
it's not,
fascinating.
it's like, it's not even reallocating wealth because you still have the money, right? You're still rich yourself, but you're just putting it into a place where more people have access. And then other people that are also wealthy are putting into it too. And then you almost have a sense of pride and ownership in that thing that you helped develop and you help build and then you help maintain after the fact. And it just allows for, people to build houses elsewhere. It helps, keep costs of housing down. It helps to bring a community together. It helps to do all these other things. So I thought it was really, really fascinating, kind of taking that approach on, winning the lottery and in my, I guess, low level example that I brought to the
No,
table.
no, dude. No, I think that's great. And what I'm hearing from the more cynical side and the realistic bummer is you can't make people care, right? That's just something that's just this universal truth where if it matters to you and it doesn't matter to somebody else, there's nothing you can really do. So like what could that take? Education? Like you got to break people's hearts. You got to let them see what else is out there. Like everything you said sounds like a perfectly presented idea that sounds mutually beneficial for everybody, but it's like I'm sure somebody thought about that before, but where's the action? You do need like-minded people to make something like that happen. And it's very frustrating. Being at the basketball court yesterday, we were at the aquatic center where it's like the Boys and Girls Club. It's outdoors, the only one with lights. Lahaina Luna, or excuse me, not Lahaina Luna, Lahaina Civic Center has an outdoor basketball court that's lifted with the plastic tile looking piece, it's raised. It's absolutely demolished. Nobody's taking care of it. All of the pieces were breaking apart. You like completely ate it. The back, the the pole holding the basketball, right? It was so shifted up into it that it was destroyed. And I couldn't fact check this, but Jared was saying he knew the guy that called the park to say, hey, can you do something about it? And they just took the rims out. That's it. That was their solution, is that like, hey, this is a problem. We're not going to do anything about it. So they just removed the fucking rim.
They
So
don't
now
want the
we're
safety
one,
issue.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're one court less in Lahaina now. So it was, you can't make people care. Like what would it take? Let's start a fucking campaign. Get the basketball. Like, you have to make waves, and making people care about the little people. It's pretty frustrating.
And I want to say we talked a little bit about it before with our time, but the thought of giving back, man, if you're in a position to give back some of your time, your money, or something like that to something else, it feels so good to do that. Then, as a younger person, I think that we have more time than we have money. I would say typically that's the scale. And then as you get older, you end up, hopefully, at least really hopefully, it ends up switching at some point to where you have more money than time. Whether you're a business owner, whether your work starts to get more, whether the family starts to come involved, kids, etc. So I think, as a young person, I'm trying to invest time, and hopefully when I get older, I can start to invest some money into things that I care about too. So, making a buying lacrosse nets for a local community or high school, like those are things that I would love to do. And it's just investing and putting stuff back into the community that just makes it all around better, and you're helping affect other people. And sure, there's going to be some people that aren't going to take care of stuff. It's just the reality. It's going to be people that go out to a public swimming pool and they don't treat it like it's their own, or they're going to be people that go out to a public basketball court and they don't treat it like their own. But there's also going to be a vast majority of people that want it to stay there and they want to be able to use it, so they're going to take care of it. And then, you know what? So what? You have to pay a couple $1,000 a year to keep the place maintained. Just talk about that in the, forefront. Try and figure out the place to get money for it, and then make it happen. But shoot, man, it's really, really nice to give back, and it really feels good to help start to boost your community, whether you've been there for forever or you just got there. So I don't know, something to think
a,
about.
a pretty funny parallel where the rich are getting backfired on is timeshares. So being in Maui, working at the Marriott, seeing the timeshare holders' perspective on sharing something that they consider home away from home, and seeing how other renters and owners treat the same property, it was very interesting because, again, you cannot make people care. You can leave a sign on the toilet that says flush the toilet, be considerate. You can push people in the direction of wear a mask in the elevator for respect of your people, but you cannot make people care. So it was so interesting hearing owners of these timeshares bickering, pointing fingers at each other. And it's exactly it. It's a sense of community. And these timeshare holders own a specific week every year. So a lot of them are friends because they happen to be at the pool every year at the same time, and they're all uppity rich folk, so they, oh, how'd your year go? Blah, blah, blah. You can only imagine they're all trading stories. And just being on the boat today, talking to Justin, the captain, we're talking about how much money people are willing to spend to come here. You want to stay at the Ritz-Carlton, $1,200 a night. You're here for 2 weeks. You're wanting to have fun. So you're doing activities. You're eating good food that's expensive. You're going on a private charter with a family of 4. People are spending 50, 60 grand, some of these families, on a 2-week vacation. So just the shift of the community taking care of their own, even on a timeshare side, is interesting. And I can see the parallel because there was a lot of disgruntled owners that are just pointing fingers at each other because they're leaving messes and they're not taking care of it. And the biggest dynamic was, that's funny, I'm not even working for them anymore. I was like, should I say this?
You
Was
should. You should.
the hotel knew so many of these issues. So if anything, our pool of listeners are probably around our age. So go tell your parents, because pretty sure we don't have a lot of 25-year-old timeshare holders listening. Tell your parents, right? The Marriott did not care about so many things, and they were letting things fall apart, and they were using COVID to their advantage. They took away tiers of managers that never hired back because of these budget cuts. And the timeshare holders are coming back saying, you guys say that you don't have house cleaning services. You're taking that away from us. You're taking this away from us. And it was this mutiny of owners attacking the hotel of like, let's band together and, storm the castle because you guys are taking advantage of this COVID stuff. And
God,
nobody was
COVID.
happy. Nobody was happy. So I like the utopia idea of you got enough people, everybody cares about the same things, everybody's mutually respectful of each other. Not gonna
Yeah,
happen.
it ain't gonna happen. But I
Not
tell you
gonna
what, we
happen.
build the compound, and some people that know about the compound, you know who you are. We build the
Right.
compound, and we just make it happen there. Everybody throws down, and then just block parties and basketball courts, swimming pools,
Well,
blobs on a lake.
I
I got
will
dreams, man.
I will say this. I'll educate myself better to like really present it, but I was listening to a podcast I follow this podcast on TikTok and I just like watching their clips. I haven't really invested in listening to the whole thing. But one guy was on and it was a local one. I'm pretty sure they're running it in Oahu. And he was just explaining the history of like the plate lunch and how the Filipino worker sat with the Japanese worker that sat with the Polynesian worker that sat with the Hawaiian worker. And here they are at the construction site and they all have their food. He has the lumpia rice, he has the lao lao, he has the sushi, and everybody brought their own food to their lunch table and they all put it in the middle. And that's where the plate lunch came, and how you have a little bit of space for each thing because everybody shared. And that's kind of like the aloha spirit concept, is that everybody and the community gives. I come to Maui and I'm like, dang, you guys have hella avocados. You should sell that. Or you should have a bunch of mangoes. You sell that. People don't sell each other shit here. They just give it. The sense of community here is awesome because it's a lot of giving. They have the avocado trees, they're bringing a bucket. They got the dragon fruit, they're bringing it. The star fruit, they're bringing it. The mangoes are in season at the church. People are seeing mango stands and it's white kids and they're like, of course they're fucking selling it. Like the sense of community here is pretty incredible on feeding each other and showing love, especially through cuisine. So that's something pretty awesome that is pretty fairly precedented out here, is there's a lot of giving, and food is just this awesome way of bringing it together.
How cool.
Hell yeah, bro. I love Filipinos. Thank God. I haven't been practicing Ilocano in forever, so I have a couple years before my kids are coming.
You better get on it,
I
man.
gotta get on it. I only know a little bit.
Your niece is gonna be spitting it way before you, man. Tell you
Well,
what.
they're teaching her like mata is hands, or excuse me. See, I already messed up. Mata is eyes, ima is hands, ulo is head. So they say, "Where's your agong?" And she'll point at her nose. So she's knowing English and
Wow.
Ilocano for some body parts right now, and
How
it's so
cool.
cute. As soon as you start asking her one, she's like waiting for you to ask another one. She's like waiting for you to point. Like she's waiting to point. She's a little sharp. She's a year and a half.
That's cool.
Yeah, shout out Ayla. That's my niece.
Oh, oh man. Wow, dude. You got anything else? I feel like we ran through so much and we're kind of
Yeah. Well, this is another great flow. No plan coming into this one.
yeah, I'm telling you, I think that's kind of our niche. I think that's our bread and butter, just kind of rolling with it, having a couple of topics, catching up on life, and then having a topic or two we talk about. I feel like it's just kind of I think it works well. Hopefully, it
I
saves you
agree.
some work in the editing world because the last one I felt so bad. I was like, holy shit! Right after recording, I was like, you're gonna be working hard on that one. And
Hey,
I
we're
was
doing
like, I
great.
did not help. I did not help at all.
I just watched 8 Mile last night with Jasmine, and just I'm pretty sure it was Detroit, and they were saying, "Look at all these abandoned buildings. They're not even taking them down." And it was that scene where they burned the house down that they were partying in, just because in the projects, whatever, they didn't care.
Dude, I love 8 Mile though. Such
Oh,
a
it was
good movie.
incredible.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. And all his nerves. I forgot how bad he choked the beginning of the movie.
Oh
He
my
went,
gosh.
yeah, he
Yeah, really,
froze.
really bad. That's another guy though. He kept showing up, dude. He was rapping in front of people at his random ass job, working in the steel mill or
Yep,
whatever it was,
yep,
and then just continued to go and go and go. And then eventually, when he finally did get up on stage and performed, like he was ready.
100%.
It's
So,
crazy.
yeah, his buddy Future kept pushing him, telling him to just go for it. And look where he is now.
Everybody needs a guy like that. Just giving a little touch out of the nest. Be like, oh, so I'm a peacock. You just gotta let me fly.
You ever had your first desk pop?
Yeah.
This man's never had a desk pop?
When's your last desk pop? 2007.
Right.
I don't really have anything else. We basically hit the full 2 episode mark. So I think we'll have enough stuff and hopefully the
Yeah, we
editing
got
isn't
plenty.
as bad this time. So
Shouldn't be an issue. Um, I was really thankful that using Will's song in the last episode, we didn't have any copyright issues. I was worried that I was gonna have to create a version with his song and a version without, so that if I uploaded it and posted it the day of, if I got kicked back right away, I'd have the next one ready to release. But no hiccups on that. So that was a little um something I thought was gonna be an issue.
Well, that's good that that ended up happening, and I got through that part, and it like kind of like came in and hit, and then yeah, it was a good little plug for him. Yeah, did you have anything that you want to try and hit on the next one? I'm probably gonna start the Cry Like a Man this week,
Okay.
um, but I didn't know if you had anything like specific that you had thought of, but I'm sure we'll think of stuff during the week too.
Yeah. One thing I didn't even realize, bro, is we were talking. You were making sure I didn't keep an emphasis on reading books like as consistent. Um, I like totally blanked on having guests. I was over here thinking about like, yeah, of course we're gonna need to read books because we're gonna have more to bring to the table and stuff. But I like completely forgot like we're gonna have hella people on, and
Yeah.
every time we have somebody on, they have 1 hour with us. We'll have plenty to talk about
Oh,
every
for
single
sure.
time.
Yeah.
So for me to think it'll be cool to read books and bring more to the table for that. We don't necessarily need to plan reading the same book together if it makes it easier because
Yeah.
you're watching podcasts and bringing those topics to the table. I'm not, but I'm down to read these books. So maybe that's where we'll both bring is you're bringing information on your time, on your flow, and I'll do the same thing on mine.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I still read. Don't act like I'm a
oh,
uneducated
no, not at
swine,
all. Not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah,
But for me to
yeah.
be like, hey, are you going to have the book done by next week?
Yeah,
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 like
yeah.
you're too
It's not my
busy.
style. It's
You don't
not
want
my
to hear
style.
that. Yeah.
But we should start thinking about it. This is episode 5.
Right.
So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to having somebody on within the next like 2 or 3, kind of
I'm with
trying to
it.
figure out who we could get. First guest has to be a big hitter. We got to bring somebody in that's, heavy hitter, someone that'll be good conversationalist, and maybe someone like, I don't know, maybe your pop should come on.
Fuck yeah, dude. You're talking about my dad, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Because I said I call my teacher pops. I call my dad.
No, I think it'd be cool to have like your dad on, or like,
That's a great idea. That's exactly what I was
yeah.
thinking. I actually meaning to ask you. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do your parents know we're doing this?
I think my mom does know. She had just listened. I don't know if she even listened to it yet, but she was like, "Oh, like I saw it, and I think I'm gonna try it out." I don't know if she has actually listened yet, but I think
For
that
sure.
she had known. So I don't
Gotcha.
really talk about it a whole lot. It's interesting that some guys at work have started to walk up to me like, "Oh, how you been, bro?" And I was like, "Oh man," and they're like,
Dude,
"Yeah,
that's
we've been
sick.
listening." I don't really like want to go out and just be like, "Oh yeah, like go listen." I'm gonna repost the stuff on social media, and if people want to listen to it, great. But I'm not gonna be in somebody's face about it. It's just cool that they're doing it on their own, and like I said, the feedback's been really good. So
100%. Yeah, and having my dad on would be special. I think he'd be a great first one.
yeah, he just
Um,
has to have the. Oh, does he still have all that equipment at your house?
um, nah, but I kind of want anybody that we have on not to feel like they need anything. So
Oh
like
yeah, yeah,
honestly, because they're gonna be pretty much putting like a lot of people have AirPods. So I'm assuming they're gonna be like doing AirPods to their computer, or they're gonna have like remember I think you had did you end up using earbuds at one point? I feel like I remember seeing a clip. Maybe I'm mistaken, but audio shouldn't be an issue. So anybody that has it, if we had Oka on and he's at home, he doesn't have headphones, that's fine. Use AirPods. Or, if we have Kyle and he's just in his apartment, like I think that me and you can keep our gear because we're the heavy hitters. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah.
we're
Oh, the
we're
people
in
that have too
this.
much time, too
I
much
guess.
time and not enough
Yeah.
money. Yeah.
Yeah. The kids are calling. I gotta go hoop.
That's right. That's right.
My
No, but yeah,
calling.
I think it'd be cool to do that. I think I'd like to have my brother on at some point. I think that'd be pretty
100%. That could
cool.
be number two.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun if me and you took turns. Is
Yeah.
that like
Bringing
I'm like,
guests
okay,
on.
my dad, then you bring whoever you want, even if it's mutual, like if it's your choice. I think that we should. That's a really fun angle. Is this episode? It's Alex and him relating, and then you're listening, enjoying, and then I'm listening to you and your buddy reminisce, and I'm laugh. You know, what I mean? So
Yeah.
it'll be a good flow, the two of us.
Yeah. That'll be cool. Well, maybe, I think I said to you, and maybe either on or off the air that we would do it around episode like 10, but
Mm,
I don't have an issue doing it a little bit before then too. If you're interested
okay.
in doing that, see if,
Let's bang one more out, and I'll tell my dad to get on his calendar the following week then.
yeah. So actually, I meant to tell you too, this Sunday, I will be in Nashville at a music festival with my boy Andre. Shout out to Andre. Unless you
You
want,
got
we
some
could.
country music?
It's it's called Blended Music Festival in Nashville. It's actually, I think, kind of like an EDM rap concert, but it's a
Oh,
food and wine based one. So it should be like super fun. And I'm
interesting.
going with my buddy Andre and Darren from high
Okay.
school. So it should be pretty cool to go out there and see those guys. Shout out to them. Um,
I was gonna shit on country music if you were wondering. That's where I was going with
I
that.
figured you were.
Yeah, that
Um,
was a good
but I
you
was gonna
evaded
say,
that.
like, we could almost do one with all of us out there, which would be kind of interesting, and just keep it in the vault and just not release it until later on, and we could hit on that stuff and just not make it time critical or anything like
Well,
that. But
I'm so anal about certain things, being mindful of what's in the frame, like I'm like attention to detail. I think it'd be fun, and you'd get me out of my comfort zone to be like, hey, next Zoom call, I'm gonna be in a hotel room with two dudes. We're just gonna be chilling here. Audio might be shitty, but it'll be fun. Like that's where I'd be set up here and like all set up and got my shit going. And then that's where I can't be as anal about it's gotta look like this or it's gotta and I think that will do our future guests service of like knowing that hey, like do not for a second think you don't have your shit, like whatever is in their background, whatever's earbuds you got, like as long as you're part of the conversation.
yeah, maybe I'll ask them. Maybe I'll ask them and see if they want to do it, because it would be a live one. It'd be kind of interesting to do. But also, we're probably going to be hanging out, listening to music and stuff too. So, kind
Yeah,
of
right.
similar to your wedding, I didn't want to be like, oh
Mm,
yeah, like we got to go record. It's like, oh well, we can just hang out too. So
for
maybe I'll
sure.
float the idea and see what they say. But
And it has to be the vault because my dad got to be
I
the
know,
first one.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
he's yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's about a timeout, homie?
All right, man. Well, it's been good.
For sure, bro.
Yeah, I'll for sure, like I said, let you know. We can probably just do one midweek next week or something like that too.
All right, bro. Much love.
All right,
I'll talk to you
man.
later, dude.
See ya. Yeah, bye.
Peace.